Hi all, welcome back to my lecture series. This is Muthu Meenal, Assistant Professor from the Department of Agriculture Engineering. Today we'll see the continuity of types of sensors which we have seen at the previous class under the unit sensors and their application under the subject Automation Techniques in Agriculture Engineering for the students of second year fourth semester. Before going into the session, let's have a small recap what and all we have seen at the previous class. We have seen what is a sensor and how well this device helps us, what are the principles involved under sensors, and also we have seen about the list of agriculture sensors and why do we need these kinds of agriculture sensors. Today we'll see a detailed description about the sensors which I have shown at the previous class. The first sensor is air temperature sensor. It means that this sensor can monitor the temperature and the humidity change level in the agricultural planting environment. We all do know that the humidity and the temperature which has to be maintained to provide a very good crop yield at the surrounding environment when we are gonna looking for a very better yield. So if that's the case, this sensor what it will do in the sense, it will find the optimum humidity and temperature. If it goes beyond it or below it, it will intimate us. So the default temperature and humidity monitoring ranges will be between minus 40 degrees Celsius to 80 degrees Celsius, and also 0% of rain and to that of 100%. So this is the difference. So if it varies between these two categories, it will continuously monitor throughout the season and it will intimate us. As you guys can see how well it can sense it. The display is there for us to identify what level of humidity is available and what level of temperature is available. So here what it will do in the sense, it will have a built-in probe. That is probe in the sense, it will have a cell with a volatile liquid in it which will be capable of identifying the temperature and humidity at the level. So if that's the case, when it has been identified, it will help us to convert the solution and it will give us the result as shown in display. So this is what air temperature sensor or the humidity sensor will do. Okay. So the next one is soil moisture sensor. The soil moisture sensor usually measures the volume or the percentage of soil moisture by measuring the dielectric constant of the soil. As you guys can see, this is a probe and which has a 70 mm of the probes, uh, kind of three tubes like, okay, and this will be connected to a power source with a thickness of 14 mm and 65 mm. If there is going to be any kind of objects that is available like stone, what we have to do then? We have to avoid that obstacle and redefine our path, and we have to insert the soil moisture probe into the soil under the root zone area. So this buried sensor will be then filled up with the soil where we have created a pit in order to make these kinds of sensors to get inside. So that is why they have given you a description where we can go in and create a pit and insert our soil sensor, and then we have to cover the pit. What happens in the sense, as we do know that the soil moisture level which is available will be divided into 4 stages, and only one certain stage will be available for the root zone. What we are going to do in the sense, we are going to plug in the moisture sensor at the root zone so that the moisture level that is available for the plant to observe will be identified by us, and if that is monitored and if there is going to be any change in availability of water, then it will be intimated to us directly so that we can maintain the moisture level. Until then we can irrigate it properly and maintain the moisture level so that the yield will be very good. Usually the moisture level is very much related or directly proportional to that of the crop yield. So it is necessary for us to maintain the moisture level of the field so that the yield will be very good in a very good quality. So that is why we have designed a soil moisture sensor. Here I'd like to say something that soil moisture sensors are really necessary, but only one stage is available where we can directly plug in and identify only the moisture level. Here also we can do certain kinds of things where we can adopt many other things into a single component. And the next one is the multi-layer soil sensor, and this is the updated version of the soil sensor which I have given at the previous slide. That is, this will identify the soil sensor for every 2 mm distance. That is, every crop will have a certain distance, right? So each and every root zone will be managed. For example, a multi-layer soil sensor will have a 5 plugs. So in between that, soil will be inserted so that we can monitor the soil moisture level with the help of one sensor for a 5 plant consequently. This is a soil tensiometer which we have in our lab. Here what we do in the sense, we measure the pressure and then convert them into a soil moisture. This is a NPK soil sensor, that is, it will identify the nitrogen, potassium and phosphorus that is available for the very good growth of soil crop. So these NPK are very essential for us to be maintained, so that this NPK will lead us to a very good quality. That is why NPK soil sensor is available separately. And the next one is illumination sensor. We do know that all plants depend upon photosynthesis and sunlight. So if that's the case, if you are going to develop a crop or grow a crop in a very controlled environment, then it is necessary for us to make a light. So that is where the illumination sensor plays a major role. It will quickly monitor the light intensity from 0 to 200,000 lux with a very short response time. And then what happens in the sense, if the sunlight is not available or the sunlight is at a reduced stage, then we can on the artificial light source that is available for us. This will happen only when the controlled environment is utilized. And these kinds of sensors, CO2 sensors, are the one which uses the infrared verification technology to measure the carbon dioxide concentration at the environment. So the response of this kind of sensor is very quick and sensitive. This will avoid the life and long-term drift of the traditional electrochemical sensors, and also with this temperature compensation, it could affect the external temperature influences also small. So that is why we use CO2 sensors. So these are the sensors which I have brought for today's class. If there is any kind of doubt or anything, you guys can ping me at any time. See you at the next class. Thank you.